is so much free medicine all around you that people are trying to get rid of every single day. Plants that can actually improve your health and your life in dramatic ways. Crazy thing is, so many people think of these plants as worthless weeds and try to poison them while only poisoning themselves and poisoning our planet too. And the reality is that these are nutrient-dense, medicinally potent, super abundant plants. So how can you start to look at these super abundant plants and recognize them as friends or allies and not the enemy? How can you use them as food and use them as medicine? Definitely stay tuned, because in this video, I'm dishing the dirt on 3 more of my super abundant weedy plant friends that, yes, you can use as food and incredible medicine. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to my channel so that you can be in the know when I share more videos on how you can use plants as medicine in the most safe, effective, and super tasty ways. Hey, and welcome back. So if you tuned into the last video, you now know 3 awesome weeds that likely grow all around you. And you know how you can use them as both food and medicine, which is pretty darn cool, right? And if you didn't tune into that video yet, be sure to do that right after this one, or before this one, or really whichever one makes you happy. Anyways, today, big surprise for you. I'm going to share 3 more weeds with you. Yippee! That means there's free medicine all around. And I'd love to know if you find any of these plant friends, and if you have you made anything with them? Any of the things that I've suggested? Because if you have, I want to know in the comments down below. That's really so much of the fun in this whole herbalism game, in my opinion. Okay, so let's get into it. Here is the first herb for this video, and it's dandelion, or what is lovingly referred to as Dandelion, or the tooth of the lion. There's a lot of dandelion lookalikes out there, and one great way to see if you're dealing with the actual dandelion is to check the leaves. Are they sharply serrated, almost resembling the tooth of a lion? That could be a surefire sign that you are indeed dealing with dandelions. And another way that you can tell if you've got dandelion is through the stem of that bright, beautiful yellow flower. It should be hollow in the center, and when you pick it, it will release this milky white substance, which is latex. So really the question is, how can you use this abundant plant as food and medicine in your home? Well, honestly, I'd be talking for about a week if I talked about all of the ways that you can use it. So I'm going to use this episode and point out some of my favorite and the most simple, beneficial ways for you to use it. So 1, these plants are incredibly nutrient dense. The fresh leaves can be added to your salads, sauteed for your meals, and they are loaded with beneficial vitamins and nutrients like vitamins A, C, and D. In fact, with just 1 cup of raw dandelion greens, you're gonna get up to 14,000 IU of beta carotene, which when it goes inside of your body turns into more vitamin A and is super helpful for your vision, and it plays a critical role in cell growth and maintaining healthy organs like your heart, your lungs, and your kidneys. It's also loaded with calcium, fiber, iron, magnesium, phosphorus, potassium, chromium, and a whole lot more. And another reason I love to eat these fresh and raw leaves is because they're really rich in a constituent called bitters. So that means it's going to help your liver to do its job, releasing beneficial digestive secretions and also helping your body to break down fats and proteins. Pretty amazing, isn't it? And dandelion is a wonderful diuretic. So it's going to help your body release excessive water retention for somebody who's dealing with edema or, other swellings due to water. anything like that. So this diuretic effect can be really helpful, particularly for you mamas dealing with swelling during pregnancy. You know what I mean? When you suddenly see kinkles like you never thought possible before, or when your hands and your eyes are all puffy and swelling. And no, it's not gonna reduce the swelling in that big old belly that you've got growing. We want that to grow with your precious baby. But the water retention related swelling, yeah, this diuretic herb dandelion leaves will help you. And maybe you're not a mama who's pregnant right now. Good news! This is really good for other women, especially when we're feeling a bit extra blah and bloated due to the swelling and water retention during PMS. I mean, seriously, how could you possibly not love this wild and bountiful weed with all of these incredible medicinal properties? I just don't get it. So do me a favor. Next time you're out and you see your neighbor out there trying to spray their dandelions, just tell them to stop. Just tell them to stop. Speaking of those kinds of things, you definitely want to be sure that your dandelions are coming from an area that has not been sprayed with those nasty pesticides and herbicides. And yes, you also want to avoid the areas that are popular with the neighborhood pets, you know, for the obvious reasons. Okay. So another cool thing that dandelion leaves can do for you is to help you release uric acid, which is really helpful for those people that are dealing with kidney stones or gout or even arthritis. And honestly, there is so much more I could say about just dandelion leaves and this precious weed all on its own, but that would take forever. So let's get to the root of it, right? Surely you've heard about using dandelion roots, right? Do you use them? Have you heard about it? Let me know in the comments below if you do, and I want to know how you use it or if you got questions about it. Okay, so let me drop a little more dandelion root info on you, whether you've heard of it or not. So they are really rich in choline. So this is going to help your liver to produce more bile, which in turn reduces congestion and stuckness in your liver and the gallbladder. So it's a big time liver helper, including times when you're trying to detox from drugs or caffeine. Yes, mama, if ever you come to that scary time in life when you need to ditch the coffee, you can turn to dandelion root as a substitute for your coffee and also to help your body flush out the caffeine and the need for the caffeine and just purify the liver a bit more. And another added benefit from doing this is that you could reduce the symptoms of PMS or other hormonal agitations during the perimenopausal years. Extra bonus, especially for this mama. So think about making the switch if ever there were a time you needed to consider it. And on another note, on this lovely dandelion root, those of you that are dealing with seasonal allergies may want to turn to a bit of dandelion root, as it has been shown to prevent seasonal allergies as well as reduce inflammation, particularly when you are dealing with inflammation related to food allergies, gout, stiff joints, fibromyalgia, and even rheumatoid arthritis. So much, y'all. So much comes from this bright, beautiful, vibrant, and abundant plant. And what's extra cool is that it is so abundant, you don't have to stress about the sustainability or the ethics of wild crafting it. In fact, your neighbors, they might think you're a little bit strange, but I'm sure they'd be so grateful if you came over and trimmed their yards of dandelion. Try it. Okay. I could talk about that stuff for a long time. So let's move on to the next plant. And it's another precious weed, and I love it so much. I think it's absolutely adorable. This next plant is chickweed. And chickweed loves to pop up in the springtime. She's got the cutest little flowers on her. There's a couple of lookalikes out there, but one way you can tell if you've got chickweed is by looking for a thin line of hairs growing along the stem. They're not all around the stem, just in this nice, neat little line on the angle of the stem. Anyways, chickweed is a super cool plant indeed. And its biggest claim to fame is for its anti-inflammatory properties for various skin conditions, which by the way, it's absolutely lovely for. It can be great for the more itchy and dry skin conditions like eczema, psoriasis, dandruff, poison ivy, poison oak. She's wonderful for other skin conditions too, like when you get a burn or nettle sting or a bee or wasp sting, spider bites, all those kinds of things. So you can just use a fresh spit poultice of the plant and it will help draw out any of the venom or infection and also cool the heat and inflammation. Or maybe you've got a little baby and that precious baby is dealing with cradle cap or diaper rashes, or just the general ouchies that are inevitable in our babies and kiddos' lives. Yes, you can use chickweed here too. You can use the fresh stuff, or if you're really, really wise, you can infuse an oil of it during the spring so that you can have it around all year round. And another cool thing about chickweed that most people don't think about is that you can also use it for various respiratory conditions, particularly if you're super dry and hoarse. Like if you're dealing with laryngitis or just the common cold, it's loaded with this stuff called mucilage, which really creates this almost slimy effect, or a more delightful way to think of it is just a cooling, coating layer of love for dry mucosal membranes like your respiratory tract and your skin. It can also be really helpful in cases of ulcers or inflammatory conditions in the digestive tract. So think of conditions like IBS or diarrhea, ulcerative colitis, or even Crohn's disease. Chickweed can be really helpful. Now, the best way to get the most benefits from chickweed for digestive system inflammation is to take it as a tea, so you're drinking it into your body, but also to do it on an empty stomach, so the chickweed has the best possible way to work its magic on your digestive tract. Another cool thing, ladies, is that it is a cooling tonic. So if you are all hot and flashy or dealing with the night sweats, you might want to try some chickweed. And yes, if you're wondering, you can totally eat chickweed fresh. You can pop some of the leaves and the cute little flowers into a salad with some other delicious greens. It's really amazing. It's got a lot of beneficial nutrients like calcium and iron and magnesium and phosphorus and protein and vitamins A and zinc. It's adorable, it's plentiful, it grows all over the place, and it is waiting for you to use it as food and medicine. Chickweed. Cool. Next up, are you ready for this? Because we are about to talk about one of my all-time favorite plant friends in the world, and it's found all over the ground. In fact, it's what's known as white man's footprint because it did not originate here in the States or really anywhere else around the world that it grows in extreme abundance. And I know that it's somewhere very close to you. All you have to do is walk outside, check your sidewalk cracks, the sides of roads, and other disturbed areas. And just to note, when I say plantain, I am not talking about the banana-like fruits. I'm talking about Plantago major or Plantago lanceolata. Both are wonderful to use. And again, so incredibly abundant. In fact, plantain, one of its things that I like to say is when in doubt, plantain all the way. I love this stuff. It does all the things. Okay, so what? What does it do? Well, it's got a lot of similar uses that our friend chickweed does, only it's easier to find, and yeah, they're quite lovely when combined together for a super weedy bonus. I love to use plantain topically for all the things. Bee stings, spider bites, burns, cuts, scrapes, basically any of the things that inevitably happen through a summer of fun and play, and yes, well beyond summer too. So it's got this really cool ability to draw out infection and venom, like a super powered ability. I've seen it draw out splinters and thorns that have been stuck in the skin for an extended period of time. It is truly amazing. I get all kinds of giddy and gushy over this plant and its amazing ways because I've seen it do so much for people. I use it in my essential salve over at Mountain Mel's and in the Afterburn, which is my sunburn skincare. Both of those are out of this world, crazy effective and amazing, partially because of the plantain. So anyways, yes, first aid. Plantain is amazing as a first aid herb. Even when you're at the park and somebody gets that bee sting, you can just mash it up or chew it up. Chew it up only if you're confident in the lack of chemicals or animal waste around, or if not, just mash it up with a rock and something hard and place it on the affected area. And yes, you can also make a nice oil out of this as well. It is amazing. And I also love plantain because it's got some of those same demulcent properties, allowing it to coat and soothe a sore throat. And it's like an absolute superhero when it comes to inflammation in the digestive tract, particularly when you're aiming to treat things like ulcers or diarrhea, and yes, leaky gut too, as it can help to rebuild the cells of the gut wall, provided you're not continuously throwing more fuel on the inflammatory fire of your gut. Anyways, plantain, superhero in my life, and it will be a superhero in your life as well. The funny reality here is that all of the plants I've talked about in this episode and the last episode, they are here for us, and they are here in abundance. We really need to shift the thinking of the perfectly manicured lawns doused with nasty and toxic chemicals and move to a world where we not only allow these plants to grow and thrive, but where we use them so that we can grow and thrive. We use them as food and we use them as medicine. They're incredible. So, my friend, if you found this video or the one before it beneficial, fascinating, inspiring, anything like that, please be sure to share it with your friends and pass this along so that we can continue to make herbalism spread like wildflowers. Or spread like wild weeds. Either way, let's make it happen. And leave me a comment below and let me know if you've been finding these friends anywhere around you, or if you've made something cool with them in the past. I would love, 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 love to hear it from you. Thank you so much for tuning in for this whole entire episode. Be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And have yourself a beautiful day. Bye!